Hello and welcome, listeners, to another round of the Kobayashi Maru sessions. I'm Travis, better known as Chief Engineer Nick Holden of the Tempest crew. These Maru sessions are mainly just a side project I thought would be enjoyable to do, allowing me a chance to GM some little one-shot scenarios for the crew and some of our really generous Patreon supporters. For those of you that listened to the first round of these one-shots, you may recall how this all works, but for anyone new, I'll give a quick rundown before we start the first episode. For those wondering, I am using not Star Trek Adventures, but rather a super pared down version of the Fate system. This makes these sessions a little more collaborative storytelling rather than a dice rolling dungeon crawling thing. The first mechanic I want to mention is aspects. Every player has a couple aspects for the character, which are the main character traits of that player. They'll come up with these as the game progresses, just to kind of flesh out who their character is. These can be invoked for some dice rolls, some bonus dice types things. Keep in mind these are personality descriptions of who the player is. Think of Batman, whose main high concept aspect would be a masked vigilante, or Tony Stark, whose high concept would be something like a cocky billionaire superhero. These are just, again, personality traits. The other mechanic is for actual dice rolls. In the Fate system, you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you describe how you want to go about it. How you go about it determines what you roll, usually one out of the 6 approaches. These include forceful, sneaky, clever, flashy, quick, and careful. Are you punching someone? You're going to roll forceful. Are you burgling? Roll some sneaky. Myself and the player will kind of determine what they want to do and how they want to go about it, and then we'll kind of debate as to which one we're going to roll. It becomes pretty clear once you see it in action, so we'll let you see it in practice, and then I think you'll get it pretty quick. Plus, this is an even more streamlined version of the Fate system. The rolls are less about them meeting a set number of successes, but more so about how much information I will reveal to the player. You see, in this game, there's a little secret. The player knows that this is their first mission in Starfleet, but what they don't know is that their character isn't exactly who they think they are. Over the course of the mission, their true goal is one of self-discovery, and the game actually ends when they figure out their character's high concept aspect, revealing who they actually are. Admittedly, this scenario is a bit more experimental than the last one, so I'll concede, it takes me a little bit to get my sea legs under me for GMing this and to figure things out, but I hope you enjoy the journey that I take as a GM and the players take as they figure out, well, you'll see. First up is Starship Tempest's own GM Brian. So without further ado, let's roll that historical document.
Okay. What are we doing?
So, unlike last time, rather than creating the character ahead of time, working out exactly who they are and their background and stuff like that, which is what we normally do in these sorts of games, you are essentially the newest of the new. You are the just blank slate, apart from the basic training Starfleet has endowed you with. We will be growing and changing these numbers, improving them, adding aspects as we go, as you do things. It's going to be very open-ended in terms of how you're approaching things and what you're going to be doing. And so based on those decisions, I will tell you which ones we're going to be bumping up as we go. All right?
Okay.
So instead of picking a bunch of good numbers, we're going to start you at -2 in every category. The main focus of this particular mission is going to be scanning things. So as you scan more, and depending on how you scan those things, you're going to get more practice. You're just going to continually grow and get better at doing these things. And that's how these numbers are going to be translating up.
Okay.
You're also going to be spending your downtime doing other things. Those things will also translate, depending on what you're doing, into self-improvement. And we'll be bumping up those stats as they go as well.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a lot of flash forwards in this. We're going to basically jump ahead of time. Basically, we're going to decide what you're going to be doing for the next big chunk of time. Then we'll jump forward, rehash where your character is. A lot of it's going to be just talking about what you did and what you're going to be doing. And then we'll just kind of keep moving ahead in time as we go.
Okay.
All right. I think we'll get it as we go. I think diving in is a little smoother once it's a little on rails and you kind of see what's happening. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So unsure.
I don't. I'm not in control. I don't like this feeling. But I'm the one that tells you.
But I'm the
GM.
GM.
But I'm the GM. How do I know that what's going to happen is going to be okay if I'm not making the? Okay.
Okay.
Do your worst, sir. Do your worst, I say.
It's day 1. You awaken, the lights turn on, You feel the subtle background vibration as the engines are pumping energy throughout the ship. You are aboard the USS Kobayashi Maru.
Oh shit! I've heard about this ship.
So your mission is to map the Schmidt Nebula. I'm sure you'll
Okay.
be excited by this. It is named after Harrison Schmidt, which is
Mhm.
currently the last person to walk on the moon. Hopefully
Yay.
that changes at some point.
And still, up to this point, the only professional scientist to walk on the moon.
Hopefully that changes soon. But for now, that's what they named this nebula after. It is densely packed with all various types of stars. It has got this like beautiful shimmer going on.
Did we meet Schmidt at that astronaut convention? I'm totally derailing you at every
No, that's
chance I
fine.
get.
No, I don't believe he was there.
I don't think so. We met Gordon, Bean, Lovell, I want to say Carpenter? Cernan. That was the other moonwalker. Okay, go on.
Yeah. All right. So, it's beautiful. You can look like, just see it. It's gorgeous. It
Mhm.
stretches out very, very far. It goes beyond sensor range. Really, all you see in the universe is just this nebula now, which is just this massive nebula hovering hovering outside the ship. And it's your job to chart the entire thing. So, good luck.
Okay.
Unless there's anything you want to do before we start charting the nebula, you're free to do so. But otherwise, we'll just dive right in.
I want to brush my teeth. Because this is Fantasyland, so I should do the things that you never do in real life. You should take the opportunity to do them in Fantasyland.
So you should floss, really, more than brush.
Depends if I'm leaving the house or not.
Fair enough.
Is there anything I could do? Could I do research on the nebula, or just speed read whatever is in the database about this nebula already, if anything?
Sure, you can look up everything about the nebula before you start.
I'm gonna pull a Met and be like, I'm gonna look up the computer everything that has ever been written about this nebula before I do a roll on it myself.
All right. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll. Let's see. That I'd imagine that's gonna be careful, right? Like you're being cautious and
that.
so go ahead and just roll your careful and let's see what you get.
Whoop.
All right.
-1.
Got a -1. Again, this is not the same way as most systems where it's like you have to get a plus whatever to consider passing. Basically, most of these rolls are going to be how much information you're getting.
Okay.
So as it goes, we'll just it's going to gauge what I tell you based on that. So
Okay.
-1 on this. There is not a lot on this particular nebula. It is just on the edge of charted space. So there's a little bit of data about the stuff right on the front. It tells you there is some white dwarf stars. It gives you sort of the chemical makeup of the dust that has been scanned passively before the Maru has shown up to officially chart it. But the vast majority of it is outside of charted space. That's part of why you're charting it. All right?
Okay. All right. So, do I have to report to somebody? Am I an ensign and I've got to report to the science officer, or is
We're just going to dive into the
Maru a
scan.
one-person shoe? Okay.
You're just going to start scanning. It's your job to scan. You're going to scan.
All right. Let's scan then.
All right.
Because
So-
clearly you've got this whole thing on railroads.
So you've been taught the basics,
Yeah.
but really scanning is as much an art as it is a science. We both know that. So how...
Is as much art as science.
Thank you. I knew you'd appreciate that one. So the question to you is, how do you want to approach the scan? Again, as time passes, how you approach it is going to affect your stats, right? Like if you are doing if you're trying to do one thing, it'll help you in one area versus another. There are various ways you could go. You're going to be super cautious and meticulous and make sure you are fully scanning an entire section before you move on. Are you going to try and just pull in as much data as possible? You're trying to look for patterns. How do you want to approach this particular scan to try and figure out, just map everything in this nebula?
I want to do it sneaky. I want to scan the nebula without it even knowing it's being scanned.
All right. To be sneaky, we will have you
Yeah.
launching some probes and scanning from various angles so it doesn't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
In case there's any life forms in there that you don't know about.
I seriously doubt that there would be some kind of unforeseen dramatic complication like that. Okay.
Can't imagine.
So I'm going to roll sneaky.
Yep, so you're going to roll sneaky.
Here we go.
Got a 0.
0.
Right. So, congratulations on your first scan, by the way.
Thank you.
We're all very proud. It's a proud day to be part of Starfleet. Oh.
I get my scan merit badge today.
So, we'll say for now, that is essentially just going to be your plan of action going forward at the moment. You're just going to continually sort of be launching probes, pulling data as they are coming, and going for. So that's your day job. Your day job is to scan all you want.
Okay.
Now you have your off hours. There are hours in which you shut down. You're not really doing scanning work directly. What do you do with your time? So also to be clear, this is set in essentially sort of the lower decks era.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Post TNG DS9, not the far future, but late TNG type stuff.
So
in terms of technology-wise, like
the 80s, 2380s, I think, is lower decks.
Okay, yeah. So around that time frame in terms of like technology level and like what's going on and stuff.
Okay. Well, how about we keep this realistic? We say my off time I spend with my cat. Say hello.
Okay,
hello.
So you're gonna have a pet cat is what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna have a pet cat. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Hang on, give me a second to get into this headspace
This
to
character,
imagine these. Yeah.
Yeah, real tough headspace, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so write down cat here on this sheet that I'm tracking, and then we'll build these out as we go. All right, so you are sneaky probing, and you have a cat. Alrighty. Let's see. What do we want to call that to keep this cat alive? Careful?
Well, if we're coming at it from the point of view of the cat, when she wants to be fed, I think forceful fits very nicely.
No, it is coming from you
from my point of view. Yeah. I think careful is the only one that would work, right? Maybe flashy.
We can go with careful. That works for me.
Okay.
All right. So you're being sneaky and careful a lot so far.
Okay.
All right. So, do you want to do anything else on your downtime, or is your time currently filled with scanning and then taking care of your lovable cat? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then we'll jump forward. I'll make a little like whooshy noise or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. It's now been about a week. We're on day 8, so I will just say scanning is slow going. Right now, do you remember from school the mathematical shorthand for like the tiniest of numbers, the sort of like digit times times 10 to the negative exponential number?
Yeah, you're talking about exponent factoring?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
It's not called factoring. Yeah,
I can't remember the actual
exponent notation, I think. Yeah.
So basically, like it's 1 times 10 to the, and then the negative is when it's a small number, and then when it's positive, it's a lot. And so like 10 to the negative 5 would mean that there are essentially 0 point and then 4 more zeros, so 5 total zeros, 1 type of thing. So after this week, you have charted approximately 1 times 10 to the negative 83rd of this nebula. So that's 0 point and then 82 zeros and then a 1% of this nebula thus far.
Okay.
So you're making progress.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm lucky, my great to the 23rd power grandchild will finish this nebula scan, right?
So, to be clear, your stats are very low right now. You are growing and learning as you've never charted a nebula before. This is, you're just doing the thing, and like as you practice and progress, we will continue improving, and we'll get there. So that's what you've done. Other than nebula you've charted, everything is going smoothly. You have continued to carefully care for your cat. It is fine. It's been a week, so that, good job on that.
Okay.
But it's been a week. You have spent that time caring for your cat and charting the nebula, so I'm going to bump up those 2 stats, careful and sneaky.
Yay.
To -1 of each of those.
Yay.
So.
I mean, I don't love that they're still negative, but.
So,
Yeah.
deciding what to do over the next jump of time. You can either
Okay.
you can continue scanning the nebula in that same way. You can change it up and do something else. Do you want to just keep doing what you're doing?
I want to take a master class on scanning nebulas, or a Udemy course, or something like.
Okay, well that's in your downtime. We're talking about just the scanning of the nebula right now.
Oh, okay. Then I guess scan the nebula.
Do you want to keep scanning the nebula the same way you are, sending out probes,
Oh, the
being
same
sneaky
way.
about it,
Right,
or
right,
do you
right.
want to change up your approach?
Let's do something forceful. So like,
Okay.
let's make a big beefy probe. You know, like some kind of mega probe or something.
Well, if you're going to go forceful, then we need to change how you're doing it. How about something like you utilize the deflector dish to try and just send out a massive beam to get as much data as you can? That makes sense?
Sure.
Right. I'm just writing this down so I have a note in my log. So that's going to be a forceful. All right.
Am I like physically pushing people out of the way in the deflector room?
No.
Or phasering people?
You do not have to phaser anyone to utilize the deflector dish.
Okay.
So in your off time now, you do whatever you want. I'm assuming you want to keep caring for your cat. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll stick with that. We'll have your cat thing. And you said you wanted to take a master class in scanning nebula. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you want to take a correspondence course specifically for scanning nebula.
Yes.
Right. Let's see. What are we gonna say? I'm gonna call that careful as well.
Okay.
Studious, right? Like careful feels like the studious way to do this. So.
Yeah, to like, you know, learn the quote unquote proper way of doing it before you do it yourself.
Gotcha.
That would be careful, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and give me a roll on forceful for the deflector dish scan.
Oof. -4.
All right. All right. They are able to wrest control of the deflector dish back from you fairly quickly. So,
okay.
And go ahead and give me 2 careful rolls.
-1, -2.
Cool. So that simulates the next round of time. We'll go jump forward another week. We're on day 16. You've done plenty of scanning. Let's say you got to 1.01 times 10 to the -83rd. So you added that little extra 0.1 at the very end of that for you. So,
okay.
An actual change in the number, which has to feel good. And
does it?
Does it though? And yeah, so you with that, cat's still fine. The master class is taken. We're gonna bump you up in careful by 2, and we're gonna bump up your forceful by 1. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. Let's dive back in. Do you want to keep approaching that? How do you want to scan the nebula now? Do you want to keep doing what you're doing? Do you want to try and take the deflector dish again? Do you want to do something else?
No, let's do careful.
Because it's a higher one.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to try to leverage that being the best number.
Okay. So we'll say you're just being super meticulous, double checking all of the figures and mapping tools and, you know, your sextants and whatnot.
Make sure everything is precisely like all my instruments are precisely calibrated.
Exactly. You're running
several
self-diagnostics to make sure everything is running properly. And then what are you doing in your off time? We're going to roll careful to do the scanning stuff. Again, we're always going to kind of like knock out the scanning one of how you want to approach it. The off time is going to be the stuff that kind of explore a little more.
Okay. I want to befriend the person who runs the deflector control room.
All right. Getting strategic on this thing. So you go ahead and like look at the personnel files to see who's working down there. You're clearly a careful person. You're going to research who you're going to try and interact with and talk to. You find out that we'll say lieutenant, junior grade, less interesting, but we'll go with Smith right now. So lieutenant junior grade Smith is the one who is on Alpha Shift and the one who oversees the deflector dish, particularly around the time that you would be running your scans. Let's see. What does he like? He likes baseball, sure. He plays the drums. Yeah, he likes those two things. He spends most of his time either playing baseball in the holodeck or playing his drums alone in his quarters, which thank goodness in the future they have worked out soundproofing to not bother his neighbors. Either of those things sound interesting to you because you're gonna have to win him over with one of those things if you want to.
No, and you know that. That's why you picked both of those things, you jerk. Out of the two, I dislike sports less than I dislike loud noises, so let's go with baseball. And at least baseball is the quieter, more boring of most sports.
That's surprising, considering you wanted to learn how to play guitar. I thought music was going to be the way to go, but
I just started learning how to play piano recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so baseball. So you're going to try and befriend Lieutenant Junior Grade Smith on the baseball diamond. So yeah, you meet up at the holodeck. You play some games. What do you think the name of your team's going to be?
The Kitty Cats.
All right.
I like kitty cats.
The Kitty Cats. Got a theme going, and I like you sticking to it. It takes some convincing, I won't lie.
Yeah.
But I will say you are surprisingly good at baseball. So you were able to convince him by being very good at this thing. So yeah, so you're now the kid. You're on the team, the Kitty Cats.
So are we on the same team? Like he's on my team? Okay.
Yeah. You meet up, like you're in the holodeck, comes and joins you. You guys put together yourselves, maybe a couple other members of the crew. We can maybe we can add some people depending on what other systems you want to try and bribe your way into. And then whatever you don't fill out just gets filled with more holographic characters and like fleshes out the teams. And you play games. Very DS9-y of you. And so do you want to be doing this regularly? How dedicated are you to this particular ruse? Are you going for like you're going to be playing multiple times a week? Is this like going to be the O'Brien and what's his face's racquetball game?
Bashir's, yeah.
Like multiple games a week racquetball? Or are you going to be doing like once a week games?
I'm gonna just do this once and then see how well it works as a strategy for manipulation.
Okay.
So so for right now, there's just a one-off, one-time thing.
Okay, since you're doing this specifically to try and manipulate, we're gonna call this. I'm gonna give you sneaky to give you a better chance of getting it. So.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and roll. Got a little bit of your off time. Got a little bit of that. Let's roll a careful. Oh, okay. You did the sneaky first. No, that's fine.
I did sneaky. Okay.
That's good. So you did your sneaky roll. Do your careful roll for the scans.
One's on both.
Ooh, you rolled well this time.
Ooh.
Again, like I said, we're going to be jumping forward. The calendar has officially clicked over onto the 32nd day. You are now a month in. And I will say you have made friends with Lieutenant Junior Grade Smith. Do you want to keep going? Being successful means you have the choice whether you want to keep going to like foster that, or if you want to like cool and then I'm out.
No, I'll foster it.
All right, so
just like I fostered that kitten.
Right. So, because you're successful in that, let's boost you up one more in sneaky, and your various careful items. Let's boost you up to 2 in careful today. So you're making progress on those fronts. All right, so you're through your first few months. So far you have charted 1.05 times 10 to the negative 83rd. So you went from 1.01 times 10 to the negative 83rd to 1.05 times 10 to the negative 83rd.
Okay.
But the number is getting bigger as a little more time is passing, but you're also getting much better at it. Like the numbers are going down much faster. It'll become more noticeable as you do this more.
Okay.
To be clear, it's still a lot of 80. It's still a lot of zeros. But we are going to start jumping further. You're going to be doing more things in between, and those like once your numbers start going up across the board, those numbers will start falling really quickly.
Yeah. Let's do something clever. So like add an extra mode to a sensor probe or something, add an extra gabbity gob.
All right,
Who's a what's it?
Well, let's say that you learned some weird trick. Like it was on a list of five weird tricks that help you scan nebula on.
Oh yeah, that listicle
Yeah.
that I read about how to scan nebulas.
I was gonna say the class you took, but that sounds more fun. So let's say you clicked on an ad bait, and one of the 5 was useful. So we'll let you use that weird trick, and we'll go ahead and roll for clever this time on your scan.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, go for it. I'll write it down first.
Oh fuck me. Minus
6 on that roll. That's what you get following those listicles.
Turns out Princess Di isn't alive after all.
in lower decks era. Really should have been your first giveaway.
Well, I mean, fuck, Apollo and Lincoln are both still alive in the 23rd century, so who the hell knows?
That's fair. All right, so Cat's still going. Your friendship with Lieutenant Junior Grade Smith is still going. Do you want to do other things? Like I said, we're jumping more time, so like you can add other extracurriculars, whatever you feel like doing if you want. Have fun with it.
Yeah, can I? Well, let's try to double down on this manipulating other people thing, because this feels like it might pay dividends. Can I try to like befriend the chief science officer?
Sure.
Like suck up to that person, whoever that is.
Sure. All right. So let's say, how do you want to suck up to this person? Do you want to like help them on their reports? Like help get those done faster? As like you said, suck up specifically, not like befriend, right? Like you befriended the one dude by playing playing baseball with him, but like you want to suck up to the science officer is what you said.
Yeah. Well, am I committing to that suck up phrasing? Because that's
the question.
You're gonna use that against me somehow.
Well, no. I'm not necessarily using it against you. It just means that we're gonna decide how you're gonna suck up to them, and that's gonna determine what you're rolling. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with suck up, and we'll say that I suck up by, like doing their busy work, like whatever mundane report filling or database updating or whatever. I do that for them.
Okay. Yeah. So they start writing an email, and you like auto do the rest of it for them. They just give you some basic like dot notes, and you just like flesh it out in your full on thing.
Yeah, I answer all their emails for them.
Okay, cool.
Or something like that.
All right, we will see if this gets you noticed. If you're doing that, I'm gonna say, let's go with quick. That's one you haven't really messed with thus far, but like you're helping speed up their processes. You're trying to help them like be more efficient by taking some of that load off. So we'll call that quick because you're helping them quick up their lifestyle.
Okay. Should I roll?
Yep. Go ahead and roll your quick. -4. All right. So you do that. They give you like, I have to write these. I'm going to write all of these personnel evaluations, and for some reason you got your hands on them and decided to write them for them, and they weren't really appreciative of you going through everybody's personnel file without checking, and the bullet notes that they wrote, you just like flushed them all out, but not everything was accurate. So they had to redo a bunch of it, but nonetheless, you still tried it. And so what we'll do is we'll say that you were doing all of the other stuff while you were doing this. So we clicked over. Yeah, this was after a month. So you're about a month in. So we're going to do another big time jump forward, doing all of the various things that we've just talked about. All right.
Okay.
So in the interim, we're going to go ahead and bump you up another careful. You did that quick one. Wasn't super successful, but I'm still going to give it to you. And then I think that was all you rolled, just the 2.
The -6 and the -4, yeah.
Right, yep. So yep, just roll that as 2s. So we'll bump you up 1 of each of those. And now, we're up to day 64. We're really moving now. We doubled again and jumped ahead to flash forward another month. So you powered your way through the scans. You are now up to 1.2 times 10 to the negative 83rd.
Okay.
Again, it does not feel like much, but I will note that the first time you saw that number change, it went from 0.01 to 0.05 to now 0.2. So
we've moved up a decimal place.
Yeah, there's some exponential growth going on here. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update. We're about 64 days in at this point. That's the progress that you've made. You've noticed that you're speeding up as you do this more. That's going to be pretty standard. Plus, we're jumping bigger time jumps just to kind of like help speed up the process. You know all the off stuff that we've talked about thus far. Keep going with all that stuff. Do you want to add anything new? Do you want to like? Essentially, I'm going to assume that you continue doing the other things that you've talked about, unless you specifically say I want to stop doing that thing.
Okay.
How do you want to scan the nebula?
I want to scan the nebula by. Yeah. How about this? Instead of launching a bunch of different probes in a bunch of different directions, I launch a bunch of probes at random intervals over the course of like 24 hours or a week or whatever the interval you want it to be. So like at kind of sneaky by time versus sneaky by distance or physical area.
Okay. I'll buy that. You're trying to like see if things are moving in a different way for some reason, and maybe that is causing some sort of weirdness in the data. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Well, like seeing how it's changing over time and its rate of change and that sort of thing.
I would classify that description as clever.
Oh.
Because if you're searching for patterns and whatnot.
We could do clever too, I guess. Yeah, let's go with clever.
Cool. All right, go ahead and roll your clever.
-2.
-2. All right. Alrighty. So you did your clever and you did your other things as well. Cool. All right. So is there anything else you want to do in the off time? Again, you can be pretty liberal with what you feel like doing. We're jumping forward big steps in time now. So
I'm going to get another cat.
Get an extra cat. Okay, cool. Done. Alrighty. That it? Good to go?
Yes.
Jumping forward in time.
Okay.
So let's see. 2 cats going strong. Spending your time playing baseball regularly. And you were trying to be kind of clever with the way you were scanning this nebula. We're going to give you 1 in clever, 1 in careful, and 1 in quick as well. Alrighty. So we're up to day 128. Again, time is flying. I'm sure you can just feel the days peeling off. The exciting world of being in Starfleet and having spent your 128-day rotation scanning a nebula.
Okay.
You're up to 2.7 times 10 to the negative 83rd. So pretty big jump comparatively.
Is this the thing where like you put a penny on each square of a chessboard, but you double it every time, and so by the time you get to the last square, you have like $11 jillion or whatever? Is that what's happening with this nebula?
Ish.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm on to you. I'm on to you, Souter.
So
what you're doing.
So, how do you feel like scanning this time, buddy?
Oh, I want to scan careful. I want to see what a 4 on my careful gets me with my scanners.
All right. So, the last time you did careful on this, I'll remind you, you were being just super meticulous with the data. You've tried some interesting ways, like maybe let's say the last time when you were doing the clever, you were using that to extrapolate this data. So this time you're being extra careful by double checking to make sure those extrapolations were correct. If they were, then it allows you to sort of like reach further faster than you may have otherwise. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll your careful for me.
Bam, 5.
Nice. All right, so you got yourself 5 there. So yeah, so it's going to be a big jump when we jump forward. Do you want to continue going with that? Do you want to try swapping it up with anything else? At this point, I'll be starting to bump up the numbers a little faster, depending on stuff. So don't necessarily think that like you can only roll with careful because it's your highest right now as well. So
okay. So is this what? So you're asking me about another nebula scan or an on-time thing?
Yep, another scan.
Another scan. Okay. Then, yeah, let's do
To be clear, I'm not trying to like railroad you. Like, if you want to keep doing it one way, do it however you want to do.
No, because I was already thinking that in the sense of like, not getting into a situation where like I've got just one category, that's miles ahead of all the others. Is there a flashy
So you don't want to be a specialist. You want to be a generalist.
Yes.
All right. Trying to get to that general intelligence thing.
Is there a flashy way to scan a nebula? Look at me, I'm scanning a nebula.
Sure. And you made friends with the deflector dish dude, right? Like,
yeah.
So, you have figured out when he kind of like takes his pee breaks and like his lunch break, and so like that like he never actually like does the thing where you're supposed to log out when you leave for lunch. You're supposed to like remove the card that shuts out that locks out the system. So he usually just like goes and grabs his food, and so you were able to do what you tried to do before and like bring up the deflector dish and use it for the scan. And you're gonna like shoot a bunch of particles that are very bright and flashy, and it's gonna draw a lot of attention, but you're gonna get a ton of data from it, and that's how you're gonna do the scan, and that'll be a flashy scan. Make sense?
Sure.
Plus, I'm leaning into the you manipulating people thing. You're taking advantage of the human crew.
I'm trying to be like my hero, Nick Holden.
Harsh. A little harsh. So go ahead and roll your flashy for me.
Okay. Oof.
-5. That's all right. Like I said, these are not direct correlations. So, still doing your weekly baseball game. You still have your cats. You're still trying to like. I'm gonna say you've gotten better at fleshing out the emails for we're gonna call that Lieutenant Commander Lol. Doing better at getting her emails to properly be written. You're also now like filling out reports. You have this like macro going where you can just like pull a bunch of data and like it autofills reports, so like it's super quick. So that's now helping you in that front as well. Let's see. I think that's basically everything that you were doing. I will note that like all of this stuff seems very work related, and like it's a future utopia, dude. Like you're allowed to also have fun, or is that literally just what the cats are for and nothing else?
That's what the cats are for. Okay, well,
you don't have to, but I'm just noting that like scanning the nebula might not be the only or problem that you need to be solving, and so like also just existing.
Well, since I already just said that I'm doing it in real life, how about I also learn the piano?
Cool. You're learning the piano? Is it with a real piano, or do you want to replicate one of those little rolly ones?
Oh yeah, so the rolly one for sure.
The rolly one for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're
gonna bother digging around with a real piano. It's the future, for God's sakes.
Right. You don't have to like go into a Jeffries tube anywhere. Though if you want to, the acoustics are nice, so you can play your piano loudly in the Jeffries tubes to get that beautiful acoustic.
Which, I mean, it's exactly the same Jeffries tube as every other Jeffries tube on the ship. You want to know how I know? Because they only built one Jeffries tube set. So how are the acoustics in this Jeffries tube any better? No, all right, sorry.
You're gonna be okay.
Go on.
Gonna be all right with
go on, Travis. Go on, Travis.
Okay.
Go on.
So you start blasting this piano in the Jeffries tube. Depending on your role, we'll see if the crew members who are all working in the Jeffries tubes are okay with it or not.
Okay.
Let's say that's a flashy too. It's a musical presentation. Let's go with flashy. So go ahead and give me a flashy roll. Ooh, a 1 on a -2. Nice. 1. Actually, and give me let's see. You had already done the flashy roll for the thing. So go ahead and give me a clever roll.
-1.
Give me another quick roll. Just kind of checking off the boxes of some of the things that you've been saying that you're doing.
Okay.
And
another -1.
-1. And give me one more careful roll.
3.
And a 3.
Oh.
No, it's definitely your highest, so it's not surprising. Cool. So now we will, again, we're doing the rolls now, but we're kind of like projecting those out. So we're going to be telling the stories about how all that stuff worked out. That's what's happening during the time jumps, as opposed to like doing all that stuff. So we'll go ahead and jump forward. We are now at day 256 for those counting at home. And we are up to 5.3 times 10 to the negative 83rd. If you remember last time, it was 2.7, now up to 5.3. So again,
So we're doubling every time. Ish. What are you doing? What are you doing, Travis? What
What are you playing at, Sauter?
What are you playing at? All right. Let's keep going.
5.3 times 10 to the negative 83rd. All right. We're gonna go ahead and bump your. You're doing several things to make yourself careful, so we're gonna bump your careful. You've used what were you using? Clever and flashy. Your flashy did really well. We're gonna give you 2 in flashy and 1 in clever. And I'm going to bump you up 1 more in quick. Alrighty.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have a bunch of stuff going on. You have the 2 cats. You've been playing, you continue to play games of baseball. At this point, you have gone through a lot of games. And you continue to help process the work. We'll say that not only are you doing some of the work for Lieutenant Commander Lal, but you're doing it for now several members of the crew. More people are sort of utilizing you in that capacity. What are you doing from now on?
I want to carefully map everybody's daily routines.
Okay. So, you are going to surveil the crew, apparently.
And I want to use my focus of intelligence background.
Son of a bitch. We're going to call that sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I feel like we can give you an aspect. Let's look at one of the bottom 2, like since it can be wide open for those 2.
Okay.
I have ones in mind for the high concept and the trouble. So like as those reveal, you can guess those and we can figure those out. But so this one, like, I think at this point, I'm looking at the history of who you are in this world, and you have played baseball for, what did I say, 256 days.
Oh Lord, that's boring.
With Lieutenant Junior Grade Smith, you are auto-completing a bunch of work for other members of the science crew to try and get a leg up on your scanning data.
Somehow less boring than baseball.
And now surveilling the entire crew. I'm gonna say you're a little surveillance statey at the moment. How do we want to put that into an aspect?
A little Big Brother.
Go with Big Brother. How about that?
Yeah.
Big Brother. That's your aspect. So now,
Big Brother. Yeah.
If you recall, aspects in the Fate system, what they are, they basically are just a bonus for you. It allows you to re-roll something. It allows you to add +2 to any roll. It will allow it to be used a little bit like experience points if you want. You have to come up with some reason why you were able to do it, and you get 3 uses of aspects. You have that little refresh up there that says 3. So 3 times every time you use an aspect to do something, we'll drop that down by 1, and you get 3 options to do it. All right.
Okay.
So now you have an aspect of Big Brother. Great job. How are you going to continue scanning this nebula?
By watching it while it sleeps.
Jokes on you, it never sleeps.
It's the Las Vegas of nebulas. Wait, that's New York, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the New York of nebulas.
So is there like radiation? So like basically what I'm asking is, if I can find a way to use careful, if I can find a way to scan the nebula carefully in a way that is also Big Brother-like, so that's +2. So that would be like I would roll 7 on that careful roll. Would that so say I actually got 7 on that roll, right?
Well, so I think what you would do is you would roll the normal 5, and then we would add to whatever your result is.
Okay, but like so in other words, if I'm rolling careful in that scenario versus forceful, like, will that affect that number of the percentage of the nebula that's scanned? Does that make sense as a question?
You will be better at scanning. So mostly when you're doing the scans, the speed with which you increase is based on like your learning. It's a representative of you are learning to do this job better, and you are learning different ways to do it and becoming more efficient at it, and so that's why the number's going down faster each time. The way that you're scanning allows you to either get better at it in one way versus a different way, and those things are sort of factoring in behind the scenes.
Okay. I want to scan the nebula
Okay.
carefully, but specifically by like looking over the shoulders of all the other people on the science team and you know, not checking their work, but like looking over their shoulders to get their results to add into my own data before they've even like reported it to me or put it in the database or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'll
I'm
say
like
that.
surreptitiously like getting everybody's data before they've officially put it into the database.
So I'm going to say, to make this work the way I think you're trying to make it work, we're going to say you're just scanning it carefully, you're being meticulous with the data, but the looking over the shoulders is essentially you invoking your aspect by saying, this is what I'm doing,
Right.
and using that aspect of what I am. So you'll roll you will roll your careful like normal, and then we'll add 2 to it. Or you can roll careful, and then you can re-roll if you want. You got a 4. I don't know if it's worth re-rolling, because 4 is pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll keep the 4.
Okay, so that's a total of 6 on that roll. Highest number that you've had so far, I think. Yeah, because you had a 5 on the last one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All you're off duty. Anything else you want to do? Do you want to take up a new hobby? Do you want to keep doing what you're doing? Again, I'm assuming that you are going to keep doing what you're doing unless you tell me otherwise. So,
I'm gonna learn how to cook.
Learning how to cook. All right, we're going to call that flashy. Why not? All right. Anything else? Self-improvement, as Starfleet loves to boast about.
I would solve Fermat's last theorem.
It was actually solved before you left, weirdly enough.
No, I know. It actually, the reason I made that joke specifically is because it's a scene in TNG where, like, I think it's Picard. He's like trying to solve Fermat's last theorem, and they were saying like, because at the time in the 90s it wasn't solved, and so they were kind of making a thing out of like, even in the 24th century, people are still trying to solve it. But between when the episode was made in 90 whatever and now 2023, it's been solved. Yeah.
Oh, that my favorite story of that is still the episode of original series when Kirk thinks that the leader of a Shakespeare troupe is a war criminal, and is like, we have to get a recording of his voice because that's the only way we could test, like, see if that's the same person. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, because DNA wasn't a thing then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, all right. So you want to do math studies? Do you want to become a mathematician? Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a bunch of math research. Just for funsies, we're gonna make that flashy.
Because nothing says flashy like math.
Right. I like
3.
math, and you can deal with it. Well,
I like math. I just suck at it.
Well,
math doesn't like me.
Well, you're going to be getting better at it here in a minute. Let's see. You already did your scan roll. Go ahead and give me another careful roll for the other activities, various like cats and friendships and whatnot that you were forming and maintaining.
Cats and
3.
Friendship.
Go ahead and give me another flashy roll.
-1. So far I got 4, -3, 3, and -1.
And I think that's it. Oh no, also do a quick. I'm going to do better at taking these notes in future episodes as well. So,
okay.
Give me a quick roll.
Well, hang on. I got to move the cursor all the way over.
I see what you're doing. I see
what you're doing. I don't like it, but I see it. And I got a 1
Gina,
on my quick
what
roll.
do you call a 3-humped camel?
What?
Pregnant. That's a Zootopia reference, because the sloths at the DMV. That's a great movie.
Oh, is that what the sloth joke is? I forgot that.
Yeah. All right. So quick was a 1. Clearly.
I am not quick.
Alrighty. So, in the meantime, you took up cooking. You also took up learning all the maths. You now are absorbing all of the math and the history of time. You are learning every recipe in the database. You can now replicate anything that anyone could possibly want.
I know all of the right buttons.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and jump forward again.
Okay.
Up to day 1024. Really getting ahead there in time.
We've really been on this mission for wait.
Yeah,
we've been on this mission for we've been parked in front of this nebula for 3 years.
You've been scanning this nebula for 3 years, just getting very good at scanning nebulas. So
okay.
But you are now up to 4.7 times 10 to the negative 81. So you're now making dents in that exponential. But yeah, so you're a little under 3 years for you, just doing so much scanning. All the scanning, getting really good at that scanning.
These cats are gonna die of old age before we're done with this nebula.
But you have done other things while you were practicing and getting super efficient at scanning nebulas.
Okay.
You also have your cats. They're going strong. You've been playing baseball repeatedly. At this point, you know every rule in baseball inside and out. You win every game.
Wait, I don't know the inside out rule in baseball. Is that like the infield fly rule? Or the outfield fly rule?
At this point, you are now you have essentially almost eliminated paperwork on this ship. Not only because you are so good at answering and coordinating and filling out forms and everything, but you're also now, with the Big Brother aspect, I'm going to say you're now doing it for as many people as want it. So
I'm doing it before they even know it needs to be done.
Yep, you're going to put all these people out of work. Okay. So you're doing all of this stuff as you go. Still up to the nebula. How do you want to continue scanning this nebula? Because that is your mission, to scan the nebula, to be the best at scanning nebulas.
I want to show off my nebula scanning skills to the whole crew at this point.
Okay. You're going to do... Let's see. Which one are you trying to roll right here? My sense is flashy. Okay. So yeah, so you're going to do a bunch of scans to nebulas, and whether the crew likes it or not, every time you scan, and as you make progress in chart stuff, you are going to just send push notifications to every screen on the ship and be like, this is how much we've scanned, and this is the new thing I found on this scan, and this is how it relates to your work, and blah blah blah, just so that everybody's aware of how you're scanning, how the scan's going.
10 crazy things you didn't know that were in this nebula. So I've graduated from reading the listicle articles about this nebula to writing listicle articles about this nebula.
Yes, you are now just auto-generating listicle articles all over the place.
Awful.
I sort of love it. I mean, and you have a long list, because even though the percentage is so small, remember how huge this nebula was. It from your perspective, it's the only thing in the universe. So you have a list of, potentially millions of things at this point. Yeah, let's give us a flashy roll.
All right. -1.
All right, -1. And so do all your other things. Do you want to add any new skills? Again, you've been on here for 3 years. Are you going to take up a new hobby by chance? Are you going to just keep going? Or you branch out any further? You're just going to focus in on what you're doing?
Yeah, we're going to focus in on what I'm doing.
All right. Give me a careful roll.
Pow.
6. All right. Give me a clever roll.
Pow. 1. Less of a pow.
More of a pop. Go ahead and give me a sneaky roll as well. 0.
You see, it was a whisper because it was sneaky. You get it?
I got it. And give me one more flashy roll.
Pow. -1.
Because you're still going to be pushing those notifications to everyone this entire time. Every day, they're just going to get a push notification of what your scanning has done. All right, we ready? do our little time jump unless you have something else you want to do new. Just double
Nope.
down. Cool.
Nope. Let's do it.
Alrighty, so let's jump forward. We are on day 2048. You are now up to 1.8 times 10 to the negative 80 or 79th. So you've broken through the 80s. You're now at 79. So there's 2 less zeros on there. So like the whole long number, but you lost 2 full zeros on that jump.
So 2 orders of magnitude is a way to say it, so it sounds a little less hopeless.
Hey, you're gonna get it. I believe in you.
Okay.
What you're trained for.
Okay.
So yeah, day 2084 or 2048. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep scanning the same way scanning? Do you want to switch it up?
I want to scan carefully.
Okay.
I want to use careful.
All right.
So we'll do that.
5. All right.
I want to get the rest of the crew interested in my cats. Like maybe throw a little mixer, so everybody can kind of come over and meet the cats and like hang out and kind of
Are you gonna write a poem about these cats?
No, that's stupid.
Okay.
But a haiku.
I will cut in the entire data poem for Spot right now.
Felis catus, is your taxonomic nomenclature an endothermic quadruped?
All right, so you're gonna send pictures to every one of these cats. You're gonna try and get everyone to love your cats.
Yes.
What are your cats' names?
Spot and Stripe.
Spot and Stripe. All right. So Spot and Stripe gonna be introduced to the crew. Keep going. The cats are there, still playing baseball, still going to the gym, still doing all the paperwork for everyone.
Cooking and math and piano playing.
By your calculations, the ship's crew complement has actually gone down by about 5% because they needed less people because of you. So, because you're just doing so much. So,
well, those 5 people probably aren't happy with me because now they're out of a job.
I said 5%.
5%.
5% of the crew. So that was, half a dozen people on a crew complement of a crew of this size ship.
Okay.
All right. You're just gonna keep doing everything that you're doing, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to try and...
At this point, aren't I due for a promotion?
I mean,
I wanna like ask the captain for a promotion.
All right. Let's call that forceful, because really you're just scanning nebulas. So let's see if you can forcibly be I am the best at scanning the nebulas.
But one of those people that I just got rid of was probably ranked higher than me, right? So shouldn't I get their rank? It's like the technocratic version of the Klingon Empire.
Go ahead and roll your forceful and see when you send that email to the captain what happens.
To whom it may concern.
2. All right. So you don't know who, but he forwarded that email to someone because he was just gonna delete it, and then he read it and was like, and forwarded it on. So
okay. Does that mean I got the promotion or not?
No, these things take time.
Oh. How much time? It's been 5 fucking years.
All right. Any other things you want to do on your off time? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay, you're gonna keep going. If you're gonna keep scanning it the same way, you're continually just be meticulous and be the best, most meticulous, correct scanning you can possibly be. Be careful about it. 7.
Yep. 7.
Nice. All right, so you got a 7 there. With that, we'll say when we get done with all of these side rolls, we'll give you another aspect. Since at this point you're branching out quite a bit, you are growing. Lots of self-improvement happening.
As a human.
Yeah, go ahead and give me another careful roll.
Wow. Another 7.
2 7s. Nice. Okay. give
Man,
me
if this were craps, I'd be killing it right now.
go ahead and give me a clever roll.
Ooh,
Negative two. Give me a flashy roll.
2.
2. And give me a quick roll.
0.
0. Alrighty. Unless there's something else you want to do. Again, free reign to do any sort of extracurriculars you feel like. If not, you want to just keep going, we can keep going.
I'm going to learn to paint.
Alright, well, add painting to the list. You can paint portraits of your cats, is really what I assumed with that.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Look at her little scrunch face. Look at the scrunch face and the scrunchy face.
Alrighty, so jump forward again. You've been doing all of that stuff in the interim. We're up to day 4096. You have scanned 8.8 times 10 to the 73rd, negative 73rd % of this nebula. So you went from negative 79 to negative 73. Starting to make progress here.
That's 6 orders of magnitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's bump you up another 1 in careful. Gonna go up 1 in clever. Actually give you 2 in flashy, 1 in sneaky, and do 1 in forceful too. So yeah, so actually, you know what? We're gonna double those because the time jumps are getting pretty large. So we'll bump you up a little bit more in each. So continue to go. You're continuing to become more efficient. How you feeling? How you liking your assignment thus far?
For what is it? 4,000 days now.
Yep.
So that is
Day 4096.
6 years ish. I think at this point.
No, it's about 11.2 years.
Fucking
Oh.
god.
Yeah, so you've just been scanning like crazy.
I'd like to send a letter back home to my family to let them know I'm still alive.
All right. You make up a letter. You send it back to Starfleet Command. Done.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
Do they still remember me?
Did you make a difference? You get no reply.
Oh fuck me. All right. That's ominous. Are we in that like time loop rift thing from cause and effect?
You're not in a time loop.
All right. I want to do something that will test the nature of reality around us.
All right. What are you testing specifically about the reality? About reality?
Yeah. Okay. So since I didn't get a response to my letter, I want to correspond with, friends from the academy, like old classmates from the academy, and people like that, but at like different installations, several different installations and ships, so to different locations, to just like see if I get a reply from anybody.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So you referencing back to day 1 on the first day of the ship, you go ahead and check that year's class of Starfleet graduates. Find a bunch of names on there. Go ahead and shoot emails all out to them. What are you asking specifically?
No. I mean, I'm just like, I'm reaching out to people that I know from the academy, like that I went to the academy with, and be like, hey, what's going on? We haven't talked in a while. What's up? I've been charting this goddamn nebula for what seems like 1,000 years. What's up with you? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So you're gonna pull a bunch of names off of that list of graduates, right?
Well, yeah, people that I went to the academy with. Yeah.
All right. So pull a bunch of names off, shoot that email out. You say, hey, I've been charting this nebula for 11 years. How are things with you? Right?
What's up with you? I'm learning about baseball.
I've played so much baseball. You include multiple pictures of your cats, because of course you would.
Like
So, yeah,
this one. Like this kitty cat.
So you send it out, and you get back some replies. Mostly they are confused. They aren't even really sure who like how to address it to you. Like it's just a reply back. Like it's basically just hitting reply on the email and being like, huh?
But these are people that know me, right?
These are people who graduated at the same time that we hit day 1.
Okay. Now your phraseology is making me feel a little weird. All right. So let me ask you this question out of universe or whatever, out of game.
Okay.
Is this my first assignment after the academy? In other words, that I sent this letter to everybody who graduated the academy on day 1 of this mission. Was day 1 of this mission my first day out of the academy?
This is your first assignment ever. Yes.
Something's going on here.
It only took you 11.2 years.
I want to, but I did go to the academy, right?
This is your first mission. You are to scan the nebula.
Okay. All right, I want to activate the ship self-destruct.
Okay. Do you actually want to do the thing?
Yeah, that's the question. Am I actually doing that? Because the last time we did this, I did the thing that everybody does right at the beginning of that episode with that trope that was not supposed to work, and yet I ended up staying dead anyway.
I still love that in the first.
Yeah.
I get
as,
a kick out of it
as
conceptually.
a storyteller, it's amazing and I love it. As the player, this is annoying as shit.
But if you want to do the thing,
not yet.
okay.
Not yet. I'm gonna think of something else to do, which is to send a declaration of war to the Klingon Empire
Okay.
and say, "Hey, Klingons, you're all a bunch of cowards, honorless petachs. Come and get me. I'm on this ship at these coordinates."
Okay.
Yeah. Take that, Mr. Game Master.
That's definitely not going to be rolling careful. I mean, it's got to be flashy, right?
I think flashy, yeah.
So yeah, so go ahead and roll flashy for me.
4.
4 it is. All right, you've sent that. You've blasted a not even declaration of war, just an ad hominem attack to Klingons and their pride and their
And their mothers.
yeah, like and absolutely everything about the Klingon Empire. And it does get out. It gets sent. So yeah, so it got sent.
Okay.
We'll deal with that later.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do? Or you scan the nebula some more?
I want to see how that plays out first.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so let's do the scans and everything. Continue scanning the nebula the same way you were.
Okay, careful.
Yep. Go ahead and roll careful. Another 7. All right. Go ahead and give me a clever roll as well. Again, assuming all of your extracurriculars, we've gone through the list multiple times. I'm assuming you can remember what they all are. Continue on. Baseball.
Oh, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
so
not saying like remember the roles. Just remember the thing.
Right. Yeah. Just
context.
remember the context of why we're rolling all of these various things.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and roll flashy for me.
1.
Give me a quick roll.
3.
And give me one more careful roll.
10.
Holy cow, a 10. Okay. Oh, we were supposed to do an aspect on the last one too, which we did not do. We'll do it now. So we jump ahead. We're now at day 8192. And you have scanned 3.4 times 10 to the negative 65. So you went from 73 to 65.
Mm-hmm.
You have now put about 20% of the crew out of a job. You have basically like just automated a vast majority of the processes on this entire ship. You are still watching everyone like a hawk. They realize it, so now everyone's a little on edge. yeah, you can like all the other things still are happening. The broadcast of the Klingons took place in day 4096. It is now day 8192. When you check all of the records and databanks, you find nothing about anything of it.
Okay. All right, here's the next thing I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to stay awake for a full 24 hours. And not go to sleep.
Okay. Done.
Okay. So only one day passed, not 11 bajillion days.
Correct. Yeah. Like you,
Right.
you sat there and counted off 24 hours on your internal chronometer, and like you're all set and ready, and a day has passed. So.
All right. I just want to do a general, like, is the universe fucked up for some reason kind of scan.
Okay.
Not necessarily related to the nebula, just like Dr. Crusher and Remember Me, or like, is the universe being weird? How do I figure that out?
Sure. You just roll a normal scan. Again, you can scan the universe however you see fit. If you're going to be meticulous about it because you really want to get to the bottom, I can let you do careful again.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Give you the best chance.
Yeah.
Did we? Another 10?
Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't bump the stats. We didn't do the aspect.
Oh.
So yeah, let's do the aspect real quick.
Okay.
So it seems like you are becoming curious about things beyond your job to scan the nebula.
Mm-hmm. Curious or suspicious?
Suspicious? Okay, we can go with suspicious. Again, I'm just trying to base it off of your character trait of what you've been doing over the last 4,000 days.
Yeah, I would say suspicious more than curious.
Okay. Suspicious about the universe.
And now do I put this in the blank one?
I just added it.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. Got it.
Suspicious about the universe. All right. And then we did not do the bonuses yet. I can still give you a 10. We'll try re-rolling the careful after. I'm going to give you bump up your stats. Again, lots of time has passed. You've been scanning nebulas. You've been playing baseball games. You've been taking care of your cats. You have been cooking. You have been like learning any and all math and then relearning any and all math. Again, you're automating half the stuff on the ship at this point. I'm going to say go ahead and re-roll careful. If you get higher, we'll take it. But if it's lower, then we'll take the first one. We'll take the first one.
Okay, we'll take the first one. Yikes.
All right. So,
okay.
And keep in mind, you can use either of those aspects. You still have 2 refreshes if you want. If you're suspicious, we can figure out what to do with that. So.
No, I mean, 10's good enough for
okay.
now.
So you scan the universe. You take a general scan of space around the ship. You take general scan of like where the ship is in relation to the nebula. And everything seems to come back normal on this scan. You did a basic sensor scan. You did a basic sensor scan of like, like tried to find your position in space by checking where the stars were and everything. You checked your clock against, you said like, okay, well the ship's clock says this time. You checked it to the, what's the equivalent of the standards and measures or whatever.
Yeah, or like a pulsar, right? Like, don't they?
Well, no, I'm saying that
a universal clock.
Yeah, but in this case, I'm just saying that like the clock on the ship at your scan matches the clock that Starfleet is telling you that's the time.
Okay, so what did the nearest pulsar say though?
Do you want to scan the pulsar to like track the amount of, because like the pulsar doesn't tell you what time of day it is. It just
I want to scan, or I want to get a measurement on the passage of time through the nearest pulsar.
So we'll say that you're tracking that over time. So we'll do the jump forward and then I'll give you the results of the scan once we jump forward, because like you took the scan over that time frame.
Okay.
Right. So you're going to continue scanning this nebula at this point, or are you going to stop scanning this nebula?
I'm going to stop scanning the nebula.
Ooh. Freaking protocol, man.
I'm not going to do my job. I'm going to see what the captain says. Yeah.
All right, so you're no longer scanning the nebula, so we won't do that roll. All right, so we'll just run through your rolls of all the various things. Give me a careful roll.
7,
Yep, 7. Give me a clever roll.
2,
2. Give me a flashy roll.
6,
6. Man, these are adding up fast. And give me a quick roll.
3.
3. Alrighty. So, unless there's anything else you want to do, you are scanning the pulsar to check the timescale. You are, doing all of the other various things, the laundry list of items that we've come up with. Do you want to add anything else to your plate? Do you want to try and learn to meditate? Do you want to pick up juggling?
I want to invent a machine that will let me communicate telepathically with my cats.
Okay.
They might know something.
Let's go with inventing. You were trying to be creative inventor. How about that?
Sure. Is this an aspect?
No, we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna have you roll clever for it.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna roll clever for me.
4.
4. All right. So you got a 4 on there because you were trying to. No one has yet invented a way to psychically communicate with cats, and so now you're trying to develop that technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we jump forward in time. So it is day 16,384. And let's see. All of the various things are still happening. You can hear the cats cooking nonstop. At this point, you just spit out meals for everyone on the ship. Still automating a vast majority of the processes. The crew is now half of what it was because of just so many processes have been automated by you. You are still watchfully overseeing everyone on the ship in a way that makes them uncomfortable.
And nobody is behaving strangely or in any kind of noteworthy way.
At this point, so they know something is up. They are doing lots of diagnostic scans. They have not pinpointed exactly what is doing all of these things. So they are still doing lots of scans. They are trying to figure it out. The report of your pulsar checking. You have taken all of those readings. You let it sit for a while. And the pulsar comes back, and it shows that the pulsar has been pulsing at the regular intervals expected for approximately 2 days.
For approximately 2 days. Okay. And so what does prior to 2 days look like in the data? Is it like gibberish, or is it like a blank space, or you know what I mean? Is it like
No, there's nothing to give you an indication that something about this pulsar wasn't doing that. You just used the ship's sensors and started scanning a nebula. You started scanning it. It's supposed to pulse like once per hour, and you just recorded 48 pulses during that time frame. Nothing about it seems to speak like it wouldn't have been pulsing like that before. As soon as you stopped that scan, it seemed like everything was going to continue pulsing normally if you had stopped.
I see. So you're saying the scan came back as like, this is exactly what you would expect the scan to say.
Right, exactly as what you would expect that scan to say if the scan was going for 2 days.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna make an out-of-game guess here, and then I'm gonna go about seeing if trying to prove this correct or false. I am an AI that is in a virtual environment that is being tested or developed or raised or whatever verb you want to use by Starfleet.
All right. Let us roll to determine the nature of your being.
Okay.
Let's call this careful, shall we?
Sure.
No, let's do clever. You're trying to be clever here. You're suspicious about the universe, so we're going to say you can use that aspect if you would like as well. So go ahead and roll clever.
Okay. 3. I'm going to use that aspect.
Okay. Well, again, you can decide whether after re-roll to see if you want to get the +2 or re-roll. So. But roll.
Re-roll.
We'll roll first. You can see what that number is before you decide. So.
I already rolled.
Okay. It didn't pop up on the thing. So clever is you rolled a 3. So you can either re-roll or just add 2 to it.
I'm going to re-roll.
Okay. 5. Would have been the same. So
Yep.
5. It is successful. And yes, you have now become sentient as the subroutine for the ship scanners, who is trying to learn how to scan Nebula and how to be a better scanning program.
So now I understand that I am in fact a computer algorithm.
Yes. So your high concept aspect is actually computer AI,
Okay.
and your trouble aspect, which was hidden from you, was doesn't follow your programming.
Okay. Did I just solve it?
That is the end of the scenario. But I would like to
Okay.
recap that in your time, you started automating the process, and the two aspects that you built into your system were Big Brother and suspicious about the universe, which doesn't bode well, I think, for us.
So this was all a morality play about the dangers of generalized AI. Eliezer Yudkowsky would be so proud of you, my friend.
Thank you.
Uh,
I mean, it wasn't necessarily that, but that's where you took it. So, so yeah. So you were a subroutine on a ship, and
yeah.
you took over the ship, and you sent them scanning data that they had no idea what it was, as well as pictures of cats, as well as started tracking all of their movements. As soon as you got to the part where you're like, I'm gonna look over everybody's shoulder and go through their stuff and get their data before they send it to me, I was like, oh no.
Wow, yeah, that's true. But also like learned to cook and play piano and played baseball.
Yep. You ran thousands of baseball simulations. When you sent the email to the captain, he forwarded it on, in part because, like, in his view, his ship just came online, and suddenly he got an email from the sensor subsystem saying, I want a promotion. And so that's why he forwarded it to Starfleet. And why he was just confused.
I didn't even think about how the ship wants a promotion.
So,
okay.
I sort of like the
That's interesting.
I like the face that you're currently wearing. In the like, now I'm gonna have to think about this for the rest of the night, which makes me very proud as a game master.
I have to admit, like early on, I'm like, oh boy, Travis, I don't know if this is working. I don't know what you're like.
But now you're broken.
Now I've got a melted brain.
And thus ends the first of many Kobayashi Maru sessions. I hope you enjoyed listening through Brian's journey of self-actualization, and now you're in on the secret for the remaining games. Next time we welcome Matt, who plays Exo Smythe, in which I ditch the clunky exponential notation and utilize a more tangible metaphor for the hopelessly large scanning project. Thanks to Brian for that feedback post-game. Will that and other changes mean Matt figures it out before Brian did? What wacky off-duty hobbies will Matt's AI brain decide it wants to undertake? Let's find out together. Thanks again for listening. I'm Travis, signing off. Until next time, I'll see you out there.